Well, hello, Pisces. Welcome to your monthly reading. This is for September. We're going to do a general reading, a love reading, and a spiritual reading. And the links will be in the description box below in case you want to jump around. So we're going to start off with the general for September. And we have guide, represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. Nature always gives me that feeling of what is, right? So what is the truth, being honest with yourself, being honest with others, because nature is nothing but true, right? Nature has its cycles, ups and downs, it's on a routine, Okay. And then we have goddess of the moon, always shadow work, always, and man holding a heart. Yeah, I feel like for you, Pisces in September is about being honest with yourself. There's a lot of digging deep here. It feels to me like there was some hiding of feelings or hiding of what is factual. But all that seems to be coming to the surface in September, like flooding to the surface in September, where you can't ignore it. You can't make excuses. You can't make blame it because it's starting to affect you. I feel like Five of Cups, which is emotional loss in this deck. Destiny, the Wheel of Fortune, and I'm telling you, Pisces. So, last but not least, the last card is the Two of Pentacles, which is movement, choices, and decisions. So there is something that you either cut off out of your life, or something that has went away, something that is gone from your space, that has taught you a lesson. Okay. The Wheel of Fortune is like everything comes full circle. Okay. It was meant to happen. There's a pattern that needs to stop. Also, I feel like there's unpredictability on the outcome. Like, this is not the outcome that you thought it would be. This is not how you thought it would feel, and it's time to make a decision. So that's why I said it's like your emotions and the truth is like out there, because now in September you feel like you have to do something about it. Sometimes things happen and we can shut down and act like whatever, but it's almost coming to a point, or raising to a point in your life that you have to do something. You have to make a move for yourself. And that's what the Two of Pentacles is. It's like, I gotta make plans, I gotta make preparation. It's not what I normally would like to do, but it's what I have to do to change this like emotional state. Okay? So it's almost like a situation in your life, Pisces, became a turning point for you to realize something or see something. So 6 of Wands, interesting. I know where this is going. 7 of Cups, Knight of Swords, 4 of Swords, 10 of Wands, 3 of Coins, 4 of Coins, Ace of Cups, the Star, and then we have the Devil and the 9 of Coins. I feel like you have become dependent or codependent on a lie. This could be something that you're telling yourself, something that you saw, and you believed it for a long time. But it's becoming unhealthy. And now things need to change. And September comes to make that change. Okay? It could be just something in your life as well, like a job. Okay? I haven't gotten into what that is, but it seems more emotional to me than than physical, like a job. So this starts off with the Six of Wands. I feel like this has a lot to do. So someone either told you something, you heard something, you saw something on social media. There's something that happened that set you down a path, and this path feels like, I want to be happy. So I'm looking for what makes me happy. And this means getting rid of things in my life I feel like that are maybe not developing or not growing, and it's not about stability, it's more about things that feel complacent or boring or stagnant in your life, which is interesting because sometimes things get stagnant or boring. I feel like this is important to say, by the way. Stagnant or boring because there needs to be a change, or there's some work that needs to be done. There's something that needs to be tended to. Okay. That's what I feel like. There's a strain there to get you to pay attention to it, or to get you to want to resolve it or look into it. Okay. Like problems in a relationship, by the way. So I feel like you thought, well, I'll ask my friends or something, or I'll look on social media, and you follow whatever that is, because it feels like public opinion. But what's interesting about it being the Six of Wands in reverse is it's not the good public opinion, right? It's like it doesn't bring recognition to your specific situation. It's more of a generalized answer. Okay, this is going to be pretty specific, by the way, Pisces. So I feel like because you didn't have the answer, or you were under this illusion, you thought, I'm making the right decision. But what's interesting about September is it comes back into your mind after you've had some clarity and you got to see things in maybe a new light or grow, and you're seeing the truth. Seven of Cups in reverse does reveal the truth. It also reveals to us like what's a fantasy or what's an illusion and what is actually true. And that's where the nature part comes in. Okay. So what's actually true? What is a part of the cycle? What's real? Like, I'm going to use relationships, for example. They have ups and downs. Work. Sometimes you have good months. Sometimes you have bad months. Okay. And I feel like that reality is sinking into you, Pisces, in December. And you're like, I made some really rash decisions, and I should have kept my eyes open, or I should have kept an open mind. Okay. So I feel like that's where we are, especially with the Five of Pentacles being here. It's like I cut something out of my life, or I made a rash decision that affected me physically, and now I'm missing whatever that is. Okay. All right. So as we move forward, there's a restlessness in you to do something now. Because now that you've figured that out, now that that's come to mind, now that you're more aware, you want to do something about it. You want to make some changes. But it's a lot. It's complicated, okay? Especially with the Ten of Wands. It's complicated. Either someone has completely disconnected from you. I feel like there's a cutting, like a cut of bridges, like burning bridges. And you're like overthinking it. What am I going to do? What's the next step? How do I heal this? What do I do? You know, how do I recoup from this? It's like seeing if you can, if this person is still on the same page. If you can start building friendships at work. It's about getting back on the same page, being a team, knowing where you went wrong, knowing what needs to be healed. And instead of like putting up, being defensive, it's more like, I can endure putting this back together. It's interesting because the Wheel of Fortune is here. And the Wheel of Fortune is about breaking patterns, releasing control, finding out how to balance things. It also brings an element of surprise with Jupiter. And there's like some optimism. It's like knowing what you lost and then being optimistic about getting it back on track. And I wouldn't say getting it back, but getting it back on track. The problem, Pisces, that I'm seeing here with the Four of Coins is there's some things that you won't let go of. It's almost like you want something back, or you want things to get back on track, but you're hard-headed about being vulnerable, letting something go, releasing things. Because it's almost like you've built your castle on top of this moat, okay? And you don't want to just like tear it all down and rebuild it. You're like, oh, we can fix it up and patch it, but that's not what needs to happen here. It's like there needs to be a whole 360 change. And because if you're not willing to do that, this other person, the other side, this energy isn't going to meet you. So there's a level of sacrifice. I'm seeing like if you're going to go into the dark road, like you're on this path and I see there's a fork in the road and there's another path, but it's dark. You can't really see what's there, but you have a light. But it's like, but this road has, what's those above lights called? Street lights. This road has street lights, but the other one doesn't. But I do have this lamp I can use. I can use the light on my phone, you know, the flashlight on my phone. But why would I do that? But that's the quicker way. That's the most guaranteed way. I don't know that the way with the street lights will work. And I feel like you not being vulnerable or open says to either another person or to the universe that you're not really meaning what you're saying. And I feel like because you won't make this decision or you won't make this sacrifice, you won't get this thing back. You know, if you won't sacrifice, you won't get it. But the problem is you already know that you should. But you're scared of being vulnerable. All right, let's get into your love reading, Pisces. All right, Pisces, let's get into your love energy. I feel like your general and love energy are connected. Most of the time they are. But you have Fool, using humor to wound rather than liberate. Denial of your emotional truth. Yeah, especially with this card. Again, being honest with yourself. Honesty is the big key for you here, Pisces. Honesty. With yourself and with others. But the thing is, it's harder to be honest with others because there's an element of saying that you were wrong. That's hard for a lot of people to do. It's hard for a lot of people to admit or say that they were wrong about something. Yeah, codependency and religious factors. Yeah. Um, I feel like it's hard for you to do. I feel like you're trying to chalk this up as just a part of what happens, like just a part of love, and you're like, well, I'll get over it, which really doesn't heal you from doing it again, if that makes any sense, okay? So then we have the sacral chakra, which is a focus on self-worth, right? And then we have observe, which is the hangman, and embrace, which is judgment. Two major arcana cards and a chakra card. That's strong energy, by the way, Pisces. So, yeah, there's a lot of feeling here. You're feeling a certain way, and I feel like you're trying to hold it off. The hangman has a tendency to do that sometimes. It's like biding your time, you know. It forces you to look at the larger goal, and if you're willing to take the actions now, or like, are you willing to take the actions now to fix it in the long term, or would you rather shut it down and then just not have that thing that you were going to have in the future? Okay. And I feel like this month is about you making that choice. Like, are you going to make that choice to sacrifice? Because the hangman also talks about sacrifice. Are you going to do that? Ugh, there's a lot of sacrifice here. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups, something from the past. Palace of Wands, Justice, Three of Coins, Magician, the Hierophant, Queen of Coins, Strength, the Tree of Life. You have a lot of cards that's specifically for this deck as well. Two of them. Ten of Cups and the Moon for your overall energy. Yeah. So what's interesting about your love life in September, Pisces, is you know why you're not happy. Okay. So this means that you're not either in a happy relationship or a stable relationship, and you know why you're not happy. You know what the problem is. So it's like, are you, now that you know these feelings, what are you going to do with them? Right? Like, how are you going to adjust your behaviors so you can be happy? That's the big question here. It's like you've put this off long enough. You've pretended like it wasn't an issue long enough. But now what are you going to do? Or are you just going to let it go? You know, that's what it is here. So the Magician in the middle tells me that there is manipulation at the center of all this. And the Magician can be manipulation from others, but it can also be manipulation for yourself, right? And whatever this manipulation is, it stopped you from having like a stable relationship, especially with the Hierophant here. It's like there's a structure to love, right? There's a structure to relationships. You know, there's compromise, there's happy okay, I'll say it like this. There's happy times, there's sad times, there's compromise times, there's crying times, there's passionate times, there's sexual times, there's all these different things that make up a relationship. And I feel like there was manipulation on something not working. It's like I feel like there was something that wasn't working that needed to be compromised on, or like a relationship with an issue that needed to be resolved, and it would make the relationship stronger. But instead of doing that, it was more like being manipulated by outside sources that stepped you away from working on it or building, right? So you took a step back instead of a step forward, which is a bad decision. It's manipulation. That's all it is. It's like someone used your situation or something, whatever, used your situation to get you, what in your lack of knowledge, to make the wrong decision, or maybe even the easier decision. Because what I'm seeing here is you were going through, there's like this phase, I guess you can call it, of self-worth, or wanting to be stronger, or thinking more about yourself. And you were like, I want to be like I was in the past. And I'll tell you what this reminds me of, Pisces. You know how there's a midlife crisis, and I'm using men as an example because they're mostly are what we focus on when we say midlife crisis, buying sports cars and all that jam. So let's say that there's a midlife crisis and someone's like, I felt my best at 22. I was at my prime. I love it there. So when they turn, 50, they want to act like they're 22 again. Okay. And that's all fine and dandy, but that worked for you then. It doesn't work for you now. Right? So, but the Palace of Wands and the Six of Cups, it's like, well, I tried to go back to how things were or act like I used to, but it didn't work out for me. Right? It wasn't fair. It wasn't what I was supposed to do. This is not the action I was supposed to make. It made me feel worse than better, right? And now, because of that, you've had time to see the manipulation, okay? The manipulation of thinking that the past will be what worked, but you see that it's manipulation because it's not working, okay? And you're like, I chose not to work things out or not to compromise because I thought I didn't do that in the past, so why would I do that now? But every situation is different. Okay. So to be fair, your actions caused the end of something. Okay. So now we are at this point where either your relationships or the connections you have felt frivolous, okay? Or you don't feel secure in them. And what's interesting is it looks like it's karma because it looks like these people are not working with you, okay? Like they're not collaborating. They're not giving teamwork. Like you didn't in a past relationship, what it looks like to me. Okay. Like you're dealing with people that are ego driven, or they don't want long-term relationships, or you just can't see you two together in the future. Interesting. So I feel like you don't really have a strong relationship in your life right now. And you're realizing that whoever you got this advice from, or whatever TikTok or whatever online forum or whatever, was not a good, it was not a good direction for you to go in. And you're seeing how that small change or that small decision to maybe not compromise has left you in a position where you're not happy. But what's interesting, Pisces, is it leaves me with this question of, now that you know all this, the ins and outs, and understand it, what's next? It's like, are you going to continue to go down this route and think, oh, this is a funny story, but really emotionally you're thinking, oh man, I wish I could fix that. But you can fix it. You can make the right decisions. You can change. You're in, for those of you who are dating around, I feel like you like the aspects of like getting to know people and dressing up and going on dates. I feel like that's fun, but you're meeting all these people who just want to have fun. You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing that you had this idea of the type of relationship you wanted to be in, the type of person you wanted to be with, but these people have a specific trait where they don't want long-term relationships. And you're not only having to leave these people, but seeing that this ideal that you had of relationships needs to change. Because you're wanting an outcome of something long term, but because of what you're looking for, it's attracting people who don't want that. There's some sort of realization here. Yeah, trying to have fun and go on dates. It's like avoidance. It's like avoidance of long-term relationships and a avoidance of working things out and avoidance of compromise. So you're like, oh, I just like to date around, or I'm looking for the right one. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing someone fishing on the side of a boat, and they're using worms to catch fish, and knowing that the person next to them is using bread, and bread is working. They got a cooler full of fish, but you don't have any fish, using worms. And instead of saying, oh, well, I'll use bread, you're saying, well, I just like fishing so much, it doesn't matter if I catch any or not. It's kind of like smoothing it over when you could fix it. You have the information to fix it, but you're making excuses instead of doing it. That's exactly what it's like. That's what they're showing you, okay? All right, let's get into your spiritual message, Pisces. All right, Pisces, your spiritual reading. I forgot the timestamp, sorry. Okay, your spiritual reading. Bouquet, man, and bear. So what's interesting about this is it talks about a gift that was given to you in the future. In the past, and not now, which is interesting, right? Something was given to you as a lesson or as a gift from the universe. And it's like you have the opportunity to stand strong and make a decision or make a change to get things to go back in that direction. Because in the past, there was something that had growth or beauty to it, right? But I feel like you didn't see it at the time, or maybe clouded by others' opinions or so. There's a reason why it didn't, right? You thought that it was the best move for you, which is perfectly fine, right? But I feel like there's a decision now currently that you can make to get yourself back on that abundant or growth path, because it's something that you actually want to do. The bear is about longevity, right? It's about strength, and it's about having something that will stand the test of time or mean something to you. It's like there's a decision you can make or a direction you can go in to get yourself back on that path. But it does come with a little struggle, and it does come with a choice, right? It does. There's a fighting of ego here too, I see as well. Yeah. All this started from self-worth issues. That's what it was, right? It's like not feeling worthy, not feeling good, and then wanting to do something to get that feeling back. It's about feelings, right? Withdrawing, taking yourself out of a situation, feeling stuck and needing to make changes. But it's almost like there need to be nurturing, because that's what the bouquet is about. It's about nurturing. And if you nurture it, it'll grow. It'll turn into something beautiful. And knowing that after time and gaining wisdom, then now you're like, oh, I know what I did wrong, or I want that back, or I want to make some changes in my life. Like, I understand that. I've made that decision. I logically get it now, right? And really, with this enlightenment, what are you going to do with it? That's what the bear asks. What are you going to do with it? Yeah. It almost looks like you moved away from something because you felt like there was a lack of, it was like blockage energy. I don't know how to say. It's like stuck. It's like boring. Um, it's like stuck and boring. But with the Seven of Swords in reverse, it's like thinking that was a lie. It's like you were deceived. You know, deceived by yourself, by your own thoughts, by overthinking, by someone else's ideas for you, instead of digging deeper and finding out what would be best for you. Yeah. And you definitely see it with the Tower in reverse. This is like, I was avoiding the truth because I thought I was changing a situation from falling apart. But now either you're not talking to that person anymore, or you're seeing that maybe someone you left someone for wasn't the right one. You know, like you're seeing the truth. Like what looked good and looked fun and looked easy for you wasn't the right direction, right? And you're starting to see that it was just avoidance of what needed to actually be done, or what actually needed to be worked on. And yeah. So again, what kind of decision are you going to make? So what kind of decision are you going to make? Are you going to try to hold on to what you think or what you said because you don't want to make changes? You know, you don't want to look bad. Are you going to be materialistic? You know, like, are you going to appreciate the knowledge that you have now? Or are you going to choose not to answer the call, pretty much? Okay? Whew. All right, Pisces, I love you. I'll talk to you later, okay? Bye-bye.